Hey everyone, you've totally been there, right? You're in a conversation, you've got something to say, but you're having this whole debate inside your own head. Do I say it, or do I just stay quiet? Well, today we're diving right into that feeling, that battle between the loud voice that wants to be heard and that quiet whisper that tells you to hold back.
So, to kick things off, let's get a handle on the loud side of this whole thing. There's actually a perfect word that really captures one half of this debate.
And that word is vociferous. It's all about expressing what you think, but doing it loudly, insistently. This is that voice we feel like we're constantly up against, whether it's literally someone else in the room or just that part of our own brain screaming, just say it and make sure they hear you. Which, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all, one I'm pretty sure you've asked yourself a million times. How do you actually know? When is it worth it to be vociferous, and when is the smarter play to just stay quiet? To really figure this out, let's look at it from a super personal angle. Let's go inside the mind of someone who considers themselves a slow, deep thinker. This is how the person from our source material puts it. And it's not about being slow to understand things. Not at all. It's about having a totally different process. It's a mind that likes to let ideas marinate for a while, not just stick them in the microwave for a quick answer. And right there, that's the heart of the problem. Our world moves so fast, it expects these quick, snappy replies. But if you're a deep thinker, you need that time to really weigh things, to consider all the angles, and come up with something that actually reflects what you believe. So, what happens when something totally unexpected happens? A conversation takes a wild turn, or someone makes a joke that comes out of nowhere. For the slow thinker, that careful, deliberate processor, it gets caught off guard. The whole system just kind of glitches. But here's what's so interesting. There's this real sense of acceptance. It's not seen as a flaw or something to be fixed. It's more like, hey, I just run on a different operating system. It's this acknowledgement that, yeah, maybe it's not the most spontaneous way to be, but the things you do say or do end up being really well thought out. Okay, so if you're one of those quiet processors, if you need your time, what in the world could be a good enough reason to push past all that and actually speak up? Well, the answer is pretty surprising. It involves a huge shift in why you're doing it in the first place, moving the focus from out there to in here. It all comes down to this internal calculation. On one side of the scale, you've got the cost of staying silent, that awful feeling that just eats you up inside, that deep regret. But on the other side, the reason to speak, it has nothing to do with convincing the other person. It's for you. It's because it's important that you say it, just enough to satisfy that little voice inside. And that just completely reframes the entire goal, doesn't it? Suddenly, speaking up is an act for yourself. Maybe even a little selfish, but in a totally necessary way. You're not trying to win an argument anymore. You're just trying to release that internal pressure to get your own thoughts out there. It's about finding your own peace of mind, no matter how the other person reacts. This whole idea leads to something really powerful, a real game changer. If speaking up isn't about being the loudest person in the room, then what is it about? What does having a real impact even look like? Just let that one sink in for a second. A whisper can shake a mountain if the valley listens. Wow, I mean, that just turns our whole idea of power and influence completely upside down. And that's the core of it, right there. We're so often taught that to be heard, you've got to be loud, you have to shout. But this suggests that the real power of a message isn't how loud it is. It's about its resonance. It's about how it lands. So let's break that down. First, it means that even the smallest, quietest, most thought-out voice can create huge change. Second, the trick isn't to shout at everybody. It's to speak to the valley, to find the right audience, the one that's actually ready to hear you. And finally, and this is so important, it means that real, lasting change, well, it doesn't need a megaphone. So, as we start to wrap this up, everything we've talked about really just boils down to a single choice. It's a choice we have to make all the time, in work meetings, with our friends, even just inside our own heads. So the next time you're at that crossroads, what are you going to choose? The loud, insistent voice, or the quiet, powerful whisper? Look, there's no single right answer for every situation, but maybe, just maybe, if you remember that the goal is your own peace of mind and you realize the true potential of your impact, that choice might just get a little bit easier.